Welcome to EnfinityCast, where we explore the vast tapestry of human history. When we think of the Silk Road, we often picture a direct line from Rome to China, a simple exchange of silk for gold. But the reality was far more complex, and for centuries, it was dominated by a people who are often just a footnote in our history books. Today, we're talking about the Sogdian traders, and here to help me unravel their story is my co-host, the brilliant Celine Vox.
Thanks, Elias. It's a joy to be here, and the Sogdians are a perfect example of how the most important people in history aren't always the ones with the biggest armies. They were an ancient Iranian civilization centered in the lush river valleys of modern-day Uzbekistan and Tajikistan. For nearly 1,000 years, they were the undisputed masters of overland trade.
Masters is the right word. They weren't just participating in the Silk Road. In many ways, they were the Silk Road. They established a network of trading colonies that stretched from the borders of the Byzantine Empire to the heart of Tang China. They were the essential middlemen, the ones who braved the treacherous mountain passes and sprawling deserts.
But what I find most fascinating is their culture. We're talking about a level of cosmopolitanism that feels incredibly modern. Because they lived at the crossroads of worlds, they became a synthesis of them. A single Sogdian family might have members who were Zoroastrian, like their Persian ancestors, but also sons who had converted to Buddhism to better trade in the East, or even Nestorian Christians.
It's a culture built on pragmatism and curiosity. They understood that to connect with people, you had to understand their beliefs and speak their language. Their own Sogdian language, written in a script derived from Aramaic, actually became a lingua franca for trade along the eastern routes.
And their art reflects this perfectly. We have these stunning murals from Sogdian homes in places like Panjikent and Samarkand. You'll see a hero from a Persian epic dressed in Turkic-style armor, holding a wine glass that looks distinctly Chinese, all rendered with an artistic flair that is uniquely their own. It's a visual feast of cultural exchange.
They weren't just moving silk, spices, and precious metals. They were conduits for religion, art, technology, and ideas. A new musical instrument found in a Chinese court, a Buddhist scripture arriving in Tibet, a new fashion taking hold in Persia. There was a very good chance a Sogdian merchant was responsible.
Which begs the question, why are they so often forgotten? I think it's because they never formed a single unified empire in the traditional sense. Their power was economic and cultural, not military. They operated within and between larger empires like the Tang dynasty and the Sasanian Persians. When those empires fell or shifted, and especially after the Islamic conquests of Central Asia in the 8th century, the Sogdian identity was gradually absorbed into the new Persian and Turkic cultures that came to define the region.
They built bridges, not walls, and eventually they simply walked across those bridges and blended into the cultures on the other side. A powerful reminder that history is shaped just as much by the quiet negotiator in the bazaar as it is by the emperor on his throne. The Sogdians may be forgotten middlemen, but without them, the ancient world would have been a far less connected and far less interesting. That's all the time we have for today. Join us next time on EnfinityCast for another journey into the past.